Hello and thanks for joining me on Sports Pilot James Glued on another exciting episode of Sports Vibe on DNT, where we'll bring you exciting and latest sport happenings across the world of sports every Tuesday. This week won't be an exception, as is our tradition to take you on a ride across the world of sports. But briefly, let's go on a very short break, and when we're right back, we'll continue from where we stop. Welcome back. It's a beautiful Tuesday where we start from the Formula 1 and we talk about the Red Bull driver Max Verstappen, who's at it again, winning the China Grand Prix. It's quite an interesting one for him. He was able to win the Chinese Grand Prix for the first time in his career. Max Verstappen winning the Chinese Grand Prix, and on the qualifying day ahead of the race, he was able to finish pole, making it the 100 pole for the Red Bull in the world of Formula 1. Quite an interesting one. Also during the race, we saw McLaren driver, where we talk about Lando Norris, finishing second and was able to win the driver of the day award. And in the third position is another Red Bull driver, talking about Sergio Perez, finishing third in the Chinese Grand Prix. Max Verstappen making it 4 out of 5 in the race that has taken place in the year 2024. Remember, was unable to win the Australian Grand Prix. That alone is the Grand Prix where Max Verstappen didn't win podium or win in the year 2024. How much more will he be winning in the year 2024, as we'll be looking forward to another race in May 2024. Quickly, let's switch our attention to another sport where we'll talk about football, and we'll be having a quick recap of some events that took place during the midweek last week, and we also will be talking about some football that took place during the weekend. And starting from the UEFA Champions League, one of the greatest tournaments in the history of football, we saw Real Madrid proceeding to the semi-finals of the Champions League after they were able to defeat Manchester City on penalty shootout in the Champions League. Remember, these two are the favorites to win the Champions League, and before now they have faced each other in the year 2022 and the year 2023. Now again, Real Madrid having the upper hand against Manchester City to proceed to the semi-finals, where they'll be taking on Bayern Munich in the semi-finals of that particular competition. You remember that Bayern Munich were able to see up Arsenal at the Allianz Arena, where they defeated Arsenal 1-0 to proceed to the semi-finals of that competition. Real Madrid, Bayern Munich in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Who will be winning this between Real Madrid and Bayern Munich to proceed to the finals of the Champions League that will be played in Wembley? And also quite an interesting one, turning things around. You talk about the team that were able to do that in the Champions League during the midweek, where we saw Paris Saint-Germain defeating Barcelona, and also we saw Borussia Dortmund coming from behind to win Atletico Madrid to proceed to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Quite an interesting one, and quite another dramatic one for Atletico Madrid, who everyone have thought they are one step closer to the semi-finals of the Champions League, but they were defeated by Borussia Dortmund. PSG also defeated Barcelona to proceed to the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League, and as things stands, Paris Saint-Germain will be playing on Borussia Dortmund in the semi-finals of the UEFA Champions League. Will PSG be able to proceed to the finals and possibly win it for the first time in the history of the club? Is an interesting one. Also, where we talk about another European competition, we talk about the Europa League, where the semi-finals is set to take place between 4 teams, and we'll be seeing Marseille taking on Atlanta. You remember Atlanta were able to defeat Liverpool 3-0 in the first leg of their encounter, and in the second leg Liverpool were able to win 1-0, and that was not enough for Liverpool to proceed to the semi-finals of the Europa League. And now Marseille will be taking on Atlanta in the semi-finals of the Europa League. Also we'll be seeing the team that everyone talks about right now, Bayern Leverkusen, proceed to the semi-finals of the Europa League, where they will be facing AS Roma. AS Roma were able to defeat AC Milan in the quarterfinals to proceed, where AS Roma will be facing the team that is yet to be defeated in any competition this season, talking about Bayern Leverkusen. Will Bayern Leverkusen be able to continue with their incredible form to proceed to the finals of the Europa League? Quickly, let's go on a very short break, and when we're right back, we continue right from where we stopped. Welcome back, and we're still having some interesting conversations before the break, and we'll be starting from there, talking about Arsenal Football Club and the Premier League. Liverpool and Arsenal are back to their winning ways and the Premier League, as Arsenal were able to defeat Wolves 2-0. We saw Liverpool defeating Fulham 3-1 during the weekend. Quite an interesting one for Arsenal and Liverpool, as they are sitting at the top of the Premier League table right now, ahead of Manchester City. Arsenal and Liverpool are leveled on point on 74 points in the Premier League right now, with Arsenal sitting at the top of the Premier League on goal difference ahead of Liverpool. Arsenal were able to turn things around and back to their winning ways against Wolves. Remember, they were defeated before their defeat to Bayern Munich in the Champions League. They were defeated by Aston Villa, suffered another defeat against Bayern Munich, and now they are back to their winning ways. Liverpool also, after being defeated by Crystal Palace, they were able to win in Europe, and this means that they are out of the Europa League, as I said before now, but now they are back to their winning ways in the Premier League. Will Liverpool be able to win the Premier League this season to salvage the season for Jurgen Klopp? Remember, this will be his final season with Liverpool. Let's keep our fingers crossed. You remember that Arsenal will be facing Chelsea tonight in the Premier League. Will Arsenal be able to surpass Chelsea, who were defeated by Man City in the semi-final of the FA Cup during the weekend? Let's see if they will be able to continue to win and keep the pressure on Manchester City at the top of the Premier League. And quite an interesting one again, talking about the Premier League. We talk about the team that has refused to go down without a fight. We talk about Everton, who were able to defeat Nottingham Forest 2-0 during the weekend. You remember that points have been deducted from the points of Everton, and which makes them a relegation threat inside, but they were able to defeat Nottingham Forest during the weekend to keep their Premier League hope alive. Everton will not be relegated if they continue playing this way in the Premier League. Let's see if they will be able to continue this way, like I said, and if their points will be returned back to them, or if any other further sanction will be given to Everton. And also talking about football, let's talk about the team that everyone is talking about right now. They are the unformidable team right now, yet to be defeated in all competition. We talk about Bayern Leverkusen, who extend their unbeaten streak to 45 games unbeaten in all competition after they were able to play a draw with Borussia Dortmund during the weekend. Remember, they were crowned the champions of the Bundesliga last week, and yet again Bayern Leverkusen has extended their unbeaten streak to 45 games unbeaten, becoming the first European team to extend or have played 45 matches unbeaten in all competition. Bayern Leverkusen under Xabi Alonso are doing well. When will the defeats come, or will the defeat not come at all this season for Bayern Leverkusen? If they will be able to continue with this form, that means they will be able to win the Europa League and also the German Cup that they will be playing next week. Quite an interesting one for them and for the Xabi Alonso side. Another interesting match that took place during the weekend that we will not fail to talk about was Manchester City versus Chelsea in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, where we saw Manchester City dominating Chelsea for the first time this season. Remember, Manchester City played a 4-0 draw against Chelsea in their first leg in the Premier League, and also a 1-0 draw in the second leg. And for the third time in their meeting in all competitions this season, Manchester City were able to defeat Chelsea in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. This means that Manchester City will be playing in the finals of the FA Cup in Wembley. And yet another one talking about the Manchester team, the red side of Manchester United. We don't know if we are to be happy for Manchester United. It's quite a mixed feeling for Manchester United, as they were almost humiliated by Coventry in the semi-finals of the FA Cup, where Coventry were able to fight back after Manchester United were leading 3-0. Coventry were able to take the match to the penalty shootout, but eventually Manchester United were able to surpass Coventry on the penalty shootout to make it to the finals of the FA Cup for the second time in a row. Quite an interesting one. We'll be seeing another Manchester derby played in the finals of the FA Cup. You remember that the last one played between Manchester City and Manchester United in the finals of the FA Cup in the year 2023. We saw Manchester City dominating Manchester United 2-1 to win that particular trophy. We will be seeing another replay of that match. Will things be worse for Manchester United, who can't stop considering goals and awards when it comes to playing teams in the championship? They were able to win Coventry on the penalty shootout. Things could be worse for Manchester United against Manchester City in the FA Cup finals that will be taking place May 25 at Wembley. This is the length at which will be going on this week's episode of Sports Vibe on DNT Work. For more news and sports stories, follow us across our various social media handle as Sports Vibe of DNT Work. Enjoy your weekend, stay safe, and remain blessed. Thank you.